Okay. Peace, family. Peace. Let me let the people come on in here real quick. Shout out to the family. Let me see who we got in here on the pre-chat. Shout out to Chicago. A Law Solutions. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to Miss Angela Hunter. Okay. Shout out to Jacob Bowser. Shout out to the family in the building. Can y'all hear me, man? Put a thumbs up if you can hear me. Family. Shout out to Milwaukee. Okay, shout out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I got to go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's a lot of good brothers and sisters up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When I think Wisconsin, I just don't think black folks. I know we everywhere. Of course, it's foundational black Americans, but I got to go to Milwaukee. Okay, shout out to Rashad and the DMV. Where's the family pump? Put your city, put your state down below. Let me see who we got in the check-in, man. Shout out to the DMV. Shout out to LA. Okay, the volume is good. Man, we got to chop up. Man, there's so much we got to talk about. Family. So much. I'm going to do 2 lives this week. I'm going to do a live on Friday as well because we got to break down some more stuff on Friday because I'm kind of pressed for time today. So I'm going to do a breakdown on Friday as well. Okay, shout out to West Palm Beach, Florida. Okay, said my first live, man, salute to you. Hopefully it's a great one. It will be a great one. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to Bronx, New York. Okay, I always joke when I see somebody from NYC, because they say ain't nothing but Caribbeans and Africans up in NYC. Yeah, like the FBAs don't even exist up there. So shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to Texas. Shout out to California. North Carolina here heavy. Okay. Houston, Texas. Shout out to Miss Diamond. Speaking of Miss Diamond, let me go make Miss Diamond. Okay, she's already modded up. Great. Let me get another mod in here. Who wants to be a mod, family? Because every time we get into these deep conversations, the trolls start coming in. You dig? The trolls start coming in and they start trolling heavy. So we like to have a moderator in the room, a couple moderators. Okay. So y'all can kind of help me control the chat. Okay. Let's go with Eat Talk Prank. Now, I'm trusting you with this name, sister. That looks like a sister. I believe that's a sister. I'm going to trust you. Okay, because that name is a little wild. I ain't going to lie to you. Let me mod you up, though, real quick. Let me mod you up. 1 second. Okay. Let me mod you up. Let me get one more mod. I like to have 3. Let me have one more mod before we get going. One more mod. If anybody wants to mod up, shout out to what's that? Car Holler. Shout out to Hustle 3. He said for the $5 super chat, he said, how would tethers react if we came to their countries and ran for public office and began to undermine them? Boy, that's a great question. And we're going to get into that tonight. Listen, let me tell you, if we went to some of these folks' homeland, if we went to, let's just say, for example, if we went to Nigeria by the millions as foundational black Americans, we got over there and we started making a name for ourselves. We came over there and were able to benefit off the resources, the tangibles. And then we started talking about, well, you native Nigerians don't have no culture. You native Nigerians, you're just lazy, and us foundational black Americans just know how to work hard. Do you realize it wouldn't be no talking? It wouldn't be no talking. Nigga, they would be running upside our head with hyena legs. Nigga, they'll be hitting us with baboon arms. All that bush meat they sell in the supermarket, they'll be throwing it at us. It would get violent real quick. Understand the level of decorum we show as foundational black Americans. You can't do this in other folks' homeland. You can't go to other folks' homeland and undermine them without them trying to physically get on your top. You dig? Nigga, there will be all type of hyena legs being thrown at us. All type of jollof rice. You see what they're doing down there in South Africa now. They running folks out of businesses X, Y, and Z because of rumors. Imagine what happened if we set our asses up here on Nigerian podcasts and just talk shit day and night. Only in America. Only in America, family. Yeah, only in America. Okay, so we good. We got enough. We got 100 people in here on the check-in. Peace to the family. I hope the family's doing well and good. So as y'all see by the title today, are FBAs to blame for the tension and division in the diaspora? But before we get into all that, family, I want to go ahead and check in on a couple things. Number one, I want to talk about the Nolan Wells situation because I haven't had an opportunity to touch on Nolan Wells. And Nolan Wells, for those who don't know, is our good FBA brother down there in Mississippi. Okay, I believe he's on the Mississippi coast. I forgot what town particularly. My family is from Mississippi, but they're from North Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. So I'm not really familiar with Southern or South Mississippi, near the Gulf Coast, X, Y, and Z. Now, our brother was found unalive, unfortunately. He went to, I believe it's called, I forgot what the island is called, but he went to an island, Horn Island, I believe it is, with a group of white friends. They said there was some black people there, but it was definitely majority white, okay? Majority white. Shout out to, hold on one second, shout out to Miss Alexis for the $50 super chat. Salute to you, Queen. Salute to you. She said, my first live, just figured out how to send a super chat. Currently reading When Black Americans Stop Singing and Start Swinging. Man, listen. Shout out to you, Miss Alexis. I appreciate the love and support, Queen. Appreciate the love and support. But back to our brother Nolan Wells. He went over here with a group of white friends, and he was found, unfortunately, unalived. Okay, they had his cell phone. His mother had to get the cell phone from him. And the whole case is very mysterious. Okay, we believe that, the suspected white supremacists and law enforcement are performing cover-ups, X, Y, and Z, okay? They haven't released their autopsy report. They're doing everything in secrecy, and they're doing everything very quiet, okay? They're doing everything very quiet down there, okay? And we know whenever you have a racially charged case in America like this one is, you have the bootlicks and the Sambos that come out. You have the bootlicks and the Sambos that come out, and one of the bootlicks and Sambos that has been working overtime is Officer Tatum. Have y'all been seeing Officer Tatum, Lord? Have y'all been seeing Officer Tatum? The bootlicks and the Sambos, they've been working overtime. You dig? And one of them is Officer Tatum. And one thing about white folks, when white folks pick their Sambos and coons, they love to give them titles. Sheriff, officer. They get a real kick out of that. Oh, you're an officer, aren't you? Okay, they did that a lot during slavery. Okay, Hercules, King, they would give you performative names. Okay, that's kind of like a quiet way of making a mockery out of you. So he's forever officer. Remember, they had that Sheriff Clark. Okay, they make you keep your little powerful name, quote unquote. All right, so Brandon Tatum's, he's been out here just on a coon and buffoon campaign, family. And understand, they use these coons and buffoons as buffers. Whenever we want to go at systematic white supremacy, and whenever we want to call out the white supremacists, here comes a damn coon acting as a buffer. Okay, and he proved that in real time. I want to show you a clip. Understand how these folks operate. One second, family. One second. Now, this is Brandon Tatum. Listen to this. Listen to this, family. Now, this is him discussing, and he's talking to Nolan Wells' mother.
All the things that have been spread. There is this officer, I hate mentioning his name, a former officer who is a far right wing, who's been doing the interviews and has been saying, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not even going to comment on Brandon Tatum. No.
Time out.
Check this out.
Oh, damn. Oh, Lord. Here come the ads. Here come the ads. Sorry about the ads, family. Here come the ads. Hold on one second. Boy, they picked the perfect time to play it, didn't they?
Do you guys find that kind of suspicious or interesting that Don Lemon said, I'm not going to mention his name? Fair enough. If you don't want to give a person publicity, if you don't believe they're legitimate, you won't say the person's name. He said, I'm not going to say his name is this officer, right? Then mom gets on, and you would think she would say, I'm not talking about that dude. He's irrelevant. He's not worth my time. I'm not talking about this guy you talking about either. Why would she say Brandon Tatum? She put my full name out there. And in my personal opinion, she want people who hate me to come out and know who I am and search me and do all that other stuff, but refuse to address specific things that they're saying that I'm saying. And they have never addressed some of the things that the boys have said.
Okay, and for a little context, family, this coon ass nigga, he went out his way. He's not from Mississippi. Okay, never heard him even talk about Mississippi. I think he's from out west somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. He worked as an officer in Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona. So whenever there's a racially charged case, here they come running to the scene, acting like they're firsthand or top journalists on the scene. So he went down there and interviewed one of the boys that a lot of people believe has something to do or know something about Nolan Wells' death that they're not fessing up to. Okay, he went down there and did a very soft shoot interview. It was definitely coached, okay, family. He already said he was down there days before talking to him. So they were coaching them up, trying to walk them through some talking points, okay? And they want to act like that's firsthand journalism. So that's what a lot of people are. They started off critiquing him by, because they go out their way to act as a buffer or a shield for these suspected white supremacists. But let's continue.
You have not heard them address the phone thing. You have not addressed them, because Warren said that he told Nolan's mother that he had the cell phone and the keys.
All of this is alleged, family. All this is alleged from one side of view, one point of view.
They have not said that he lied about it. They won't even talk about it. It came up on Chris Cuomo, and you guys will see that shortly. It came up on Chris Cuomo, and they pivoted. They didn't even address what Cuomo said. They just pivoted to something else. All right, continue.
I respect that. And that's the right answer for everybody, I believe. And I feel like, because I mentioned him, I'm like, why did I even mention him? Because he doesn't deserve a platform.
No, he does not.
So let's talk about the people, the young men that he's been interviewing. They're saying they're his best friends. Some of them you said that you don't know. One of them even said, oh, Nolan would be outraged by the way his parents are handling this. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, why on earth would somebody go on and say that about a grieving family? But go.
Again, distraction. We're not even going to address them or that man. We only want the truth. Again, at the end of the day, I'm going to say it like I've been saying it. The only question we have is what happened to Nolan. That's what we need to know. That's it. That's all.
When you talk about all the...
Oh, I'm talking about Mama. I got a question for you. With all due respect, why then, if you want to know what happened to Nolan, did your attorney not talk to me before I ever talked to the other side?
Nigga, what? Family. This is what we talk about when we say that these coons, tethers, these folks act as buffers and shields for white supremacy. Why the hell would his mother call you? You have nothing to do with the case, sir. Nigga, you not even from Mississippi. You literally came down there to act as a buffer and a shield for white supremacy. And this is why these coons, I always tell y'all, coons and tethers are cousins. They're cousins. They do the same shit. Okay? Who the hell are you? Why does she need to call you and talk to you? This is why they give these folks these titles. These titles go to their officer. I'm the officer. You call the officer. Nigga, fuck you. Who are you? Other than a Sambo who always chooses the side of the white folks. Always chooses the side of the white folks. Now, when the Carmelo Anthony case was happening, he didn't choose the side of the alleged perpetrator, he chose the side of the victim. Okay, now the Nolan Wells situation happens. Now he wants to choose the side of the alleged perpetrators. So he's team white supremacy. Whenever the white folks are being questioned, they call in the Officer Tatums of the world. Okay? And they try to come in and act like they have some type of authority in the situation. You dig? This is why I tell y'all, don't even waste time addressing or having serious conversations with these coons and these tethers, because they're there to act as shields. All of their conversations are in bad faith, family. All of these conversations are in bad faith. Let's be clear. These folks know nothing about the case. They're there to run interference. They're there to muddy the water. They're there to do the bidding for white supremacy. See, what we did as foundational Black Americans, I want y'all to understand how powerful y'all are. And that's the reason why we have such a coon and a tether epidemic, is because of how powerful of a people we are. What we did is we nullified unapologetic white supremacy. The days where white folks just coming out and being unapologetic about their white supremacy, getting out here and saying whatever the hell they want on national television and driving an angle, we made it frowned upon to do that. Okay? We made them frown to do that. We gave them a black eye for doing that. So what they have to do is they have to be very strategic. They have to move with deception. They have to put skin folk in position to do their bidding. Okay? And now what we're doing is we're even debunking that. We're calling that out. We're exposing that for what it is. The coons, the tethers, the people who are skin folk, but they're not kin folk. Okay? We're keeping a track record on them. We're calling them out for their actions. And that's why a lot of the Brandon Tatums of the world are falling flat. Candace Owens is pretty much being nullified. Every time Candace Owens speaks right now, niggas like, this is a fucking coon. Nobody's really taking these folks serious. Okay? When these tethers get up here, we're asking, hey man, where is your family from? That's the first question. So they're being nullified. And that's the big reason why you see this push for ICE, and you see ICE kind of really doing what they want now. Because there's no foundational Black Americans coming to rescue these folks, okay? We're not falling for the games anymore. We understand just because you're skin folk don't make you kin folk. And we understand the strategies that they're trying to implement on us. We understand that these folks are there to act as a buffer. These folks aren't top journalists. They're not there trying to get to the bottom of it. They're there to run interference for white supremacy. And I want you to understand that, family. But a couple things. Let's put the coons and the bootlicks to the side. Okay, let's put the coons and the bootlicks to the side. Two things from the Nolan Wells situation I want y'all to understand. Number one, you need to always be rooted in your heritage, lineage, and culture. Let me say that again. Foundational Black Americans, you need to always be rooted in your heritage, lineage, and culture. What do I mean by that? Your base of who you surround yourself with, what grounds you, needs to be your people. For example, foundational Black Americans. This whole thing of surrounding yourself and indoctrinating yourself in white culture, white heritage, white ideology, and I'm no disrespect to the brother Nolan Wells. No disrespect, because he's a young brother. You know, he had white friends, X, Y, and Z, but I don't believe he was rooted, okay, in Black American heritage, lineage, and culture. See, Black American heritage, lineage, and culture, we know certain things. I don't even really go certain places that are too white. Some of y'all feel the same way. I don't even go places that are too white. If it's too white, if I go to a place like, you ain't gonna never catch Brother Chase at a NASCAR event. I'm just not there. The vibe is off for me. Shout out to the brothers and sisters who like NASCAR. I'm going somewhere with some family. I got a rule, family. I got a rule. If I go somewhere and stay, it got to at least be 20% Black. Okay? When I go visit a town, I want to stay on the Black side of town. Because although our people aren't perfect, okay, I know my culture, I know my heritage, I know my lineage, I know how my people behave and move. You dig? And I understand in general, foundational Black Americans in general, I should say, we're going to look out for each other for the most part. Okay? We're going to look out for each other. We can kind of, brothers, when we see each other, we kind of give each other the nod. Sisters do the same thing. You know, you can kind of give each other the nod. You can look out for each other, X, Y, and Z. You ain't never going to see me surrounded by a group of just straight up and down white folks. It's going to be some brothers or sisters in the mix. Okay, you need to be rooted in your heritage, lineage, and culture, surrounded in it and rooted in it. It's cool if you have a white friend. It's cool if you have a Latino friend, an Asian friend, X, Y, and Z. But you still need to be rooted and connected to your people. Okay? They need to know what's going on. So if you go into an island like, I think it was called Horn Island, it's some brothers and sisters need to know what's going on. Okay? They need to know what's going on. You hear them, hey man, Tanner and Connor, they trying to go over here to Horn Island. You trying to slide? You trying to go? You need to be hitting up the brothers and the sisters. Y'all trying to, hey man, y'all trying to go. If y'all don't go, I ain't going. Yeah, they cool. They seem like cool people, X, Y, and Z. They seem like cool people to chill around. They talking about they getting their daddy boat, X, Y, and Z. But if y'all ain't going, I ain't going. You see what I'm saying? Because these fishy type things always seem to come up when it's one Negro and a group of white friends. And they're saying it was other black people on the island, but in them damn pictures, it ain't nothing but white folks around him. So are you rooted with the black people on the island? Are y'all moving on the same accord? Okay? Are y'all moving on the same accord? Do y'all understand where I'm coming from, family? Do y'all understand where I'm coming from? That's number one. Number two, this is for the parents out there, the Foundation of Black American Parents. Teach your kids about systematic white supremacy at a young age. Let me say that. Teach your kids about systematic white supremacy, racism. Have those talks with them early. Okay? A lot of times, some parents want to run from that conversation. They don't want to talk about white supremacy. Oh, man, don't teach a kid about racism, man. Oh, man, you teaching them to be downtrodden. You teaching them to be a victim. No, you're not. You're teaching them the realities of the time they're living in. Okay? You're making them aware. I'm not saying you tell them they got to run around scared, but I'm telling you, you tell them they have to be alert because kids already know. Kids understand, and they knew this with the doll test that happened in the 1960s, where they gave young black girls a black doll and a white doll. And they kept choosing the white doll because they said they understood racism. They understood white to be pretty and black to be ugly. Kids already know this. Your kids are going to be indoctrinated in white supremacy from a young age. Okay? In the social hierarchy. Teach them how to move, teach them how to pivot. All right? Teach them these things. Stop avoiding the racial conversation. Stop, oh man, I don't want my kids to grow up hating white people. Ain't nobody teaching your kids to hate white people, but they need to be aware of the relationship people who look like them have with white people. So they don't walk into situations blind. So when they take them pictures with white folks and they looking back at the picture and say, damn, this is 10 white folks and I'm the only Negro. Maybe I need to, move and shake a little different. Okay? Maybe I need to move and shake a little different. Maybe if I'm the only Negro here, maybe I don't need to be drinking while I'm around these folks. Because that's another thing. Folks get around these white folks, they end up dead. And then they start talking about, oh man, he just had too much to drink and he fell out the window. Huh? Oh yeah, he was doing a little Molly and he overdosed. Now all of y'all were doing this Molly, all of y'all were doing this drugs. He's the only one who overdosed. Okay? You need to be on your P's and Q's at all times. You need to understand the history and the relationship between you and white folk. You need to teach your kids that at a young age. You need to teach them the art of deception. Just because white people are showing you teeth, just because they're being cool with you, don't mean they fuck with you. And that's a big thing a lot of black folks got to understand, foundational Black Americans, family. You got to understand that, especially in the South. Let me tell you about something about white folks in the South. White people in the South are very hospitable. Most of the time, white people, the Southern white American, is very hospitable. I'm from the South. You go to these football games. Hey, dude. Hey, man, do you want to? We have a booth. Do you want to come up there and sit with us? They're very nice, very kind. You dig? They'll invite you to the tailgate. Hey, man. Hey, my pops. He's the CEO for General Motors. Hey, do you want to come? I mean, we're flying out to Michigan this weekend. Do you want to come? Yeah, man. I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could. Oh, they're very hospitable. Don't let your guard down. Okay? Because the same folks hi, keying, smiling in your face will walk right off that private jet with you. Okay? Will leave that tailgate, will leave that dinner, will leave your parents' house and get on them courtrooms and practice systematic white supremacy. You see what I'm saying, family? A lot of you confuse teeth, getting shown teeth, niggas smiling at you with ain't no racism. Man, these cool white folk, man. These white folk cool. No. Stop being happy to see the teeth of white folks. Okay? You can be hospitable back. You can shake hands. Okay? You can exchange ideas. You can do business. But understand the relationship. Understand the relationship you have. And that's not just with white folks. That's with other groups of people. Remember, our good brother Carmelo Anthony, and we hope he is freed very soon. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony for his self-defense case, for defending himself and his life. Remember, Carmelo Anthony was under Austin Metcalf's team tent talking to a damn Latino. He went over there to speak to what he thought was his Latino friend, or should I say Latino friend. He was over there chopping up game with him, and then that same Latino went on the courtroom, went on the trial and said, we were never friends. Huh? I barely knew Carmelo. I mean, he dated my cousin. I barely knew him. He's sitting up there. They got pictures together, X, Y, Z. Oh, I barely knew Carmelo. Huh? Carmelo? Who is that? Who is that? He got on that boardroom and acted as an honor. He got on that courthouse, got in that courthouse, okay, and on that stand and acted as an honorary white supremacist. And see, that's why we have to teach our babies the rules and the regulations early. The rules and the regulations early. You got to pull them to the side. Okay, it's cool. You got white friends. You got some white friends at the school. You got some Latino friends at the school. That's cool. Okay, but understand the history you have with these folks. Understand these folks are going to side with themselves and they're going to choose their people 100% of the time. 100% of the time. You see what I'm saying? They're going to get on code real quick. Shout out to the sister that just said that in the chat. They're going to get on code real quick. It's a must you get on code. So always keep that in mind, family. Always keep that in mind. Those are the two things, family. Be rooted in your lineage and your heritage and your culture at all times, even when you're surrounded by by white people. You need to have some brothers and sisters that you are connected to, that know how y'all moving and know how to be on code. My people who work in corporate environments, y'all are very aware of this. Okay, when y'all working at these large corporations and shit, all the sisters in there be on code. Okay, the black people, they congregate at lunch. You see what I'm saying? They congregate at lunch. You dig? Sisters are real aware of that. Sisters, you go to a little event with some sisters be huddled up in the corner. You know, talking black talk. You got to get on code, be rooted in your lineage, heritage, and culture, and have a connection to your people. And teach your babies the law of the land early. Teach them the unwritten rules of white supremacy, that you're not going to see this on paper. We're a post-racial society. Here's the reality of the situation. You see what I'm saying? So that's very important to understand, family. Very important to understand. All right? Very important. Let me get a drink of water. Yes, indeed, family. Another situation, when you don't understand white supremacy, you have things like this. Now, I talk about this. This is our good brother, Ryan Clark. This is what happens when you really don't understand systematic white supremacy. And this is a learning lesson. I wish y'all would stop doing this, family, especially black men. Ryan Clark, former NFL player, very good safety that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he went to LSU in college. Okay, I used to love to watch him play football. I actually played safety in college as well. This was one of the people that I wouldn't say I looked up to, but I studied his film. Very good safety, hard-hitting safety. Played in the league about 10 years. He's done a great job of, after football, pivoting into the commentary side of things. He worked for ESPN for the longest. Okay, and even has his own podcast, the Pivot Podcast. Okay, the Pivot Podcast. Now, Ryan Clark, maybe what was this, about 3-4 weeks ago, family? Ryan Clark, about 3-4 weeks ago, he got fired from ESPN. He got fired from ESPN. They damn near fired him on air. Okay, he was talking, and you could tell he stopped a little bit, and then I think when they came back, he was gone. Okay, so they damn near fired him on air. And you know, he kind of did like a tour, like, man, I got fired, X, Y, and Z. And this is what happened. He got on his podcast to Pivot, and he started crying. Lord.
When I go home, and this kid, you know, from the West Bank is like so accepted in New Orleans now. Like, I wouldn't change that. You know, never. You know, like, all I ever wanted to do was be accepted.
Oh, Lord. Family, couple lessons we need to learn from this. I'm big on, you know, giving a family lessons of empowerment, because some of you are going to go through this. Some of you have been through this. Y'all be at these white corporations. These white folks is paying you good money. And then out of the blue, they fire your ass. You the first one off the chopping block. They like, God damn. You like, damn, you didn't told your family. You didn't call back home. You didn't call back to your mama and sister and cousin in Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee. God damn, I'm up here balling. I'm making $150,000 a year. These white folks love me. Damn, there's some good white folks out there. You're bragging, you're ha-ha, and you're kikiing. You go to your Facebook page and you hugged up with Connor and Tanner. Okay, Sally and them. Oh, they're bigging you up. And then the first sign of trouble, they done fired your ass. And you like, God damn. I thought we were cool. I thought we had some type of relationship. You see what I'm saying? You done cold switched around them. You know, you speaking proper English every time you get around them and shit like that. And then you done got fired. And then some of you, unfortunately, you kind of go on a crying tour. Let me tell you something, because he's talking about kids who were inspired by him being on ESPN. Let me tell you something, brother Ryan. Young black men who looked up to you were not inspired by you being on ESPN. They were inspired by the way you carried yourself. Okay? They were inspired by the way you carried yourself, the way you could articulate yourself, the way you seamlessly pivoted from football to life after football. Okay? You stay in shape. You have a black wife, successful black children. That's what inspired them. Okay? That's what inspired them, brother. But when you get out here and you get fired from your job and you get on your podcast and start crying, that's a bad look. That's demoralizing for black men who looked up to you. What you're doing now. Okay, let me talk to young foundational black American men and women in general. You're bigger than your job. Your job is not the end all be all, family. It's not the end all be all. I want y'all to understand that. 3 things that I want y'all to understand. Number one, when you get at these jobs, family, rule number one, never let your job be your motion. This is rule number one at a job, any job, whether you work in a blue collar job, when you working for them folks, corporations, I don't give a damn if they paying your ass $1 million a year. Never let that job be your motion, meaning your end all be all. You wake up, you eat and sleep for that job. Like Stephen A. Coon ass got up there and say, the first thing I think about when I wake up is how to make my bosses some money. Nigga, what? Because they got you then. They got you then. When you make that job part of your emotion, you end up having crash outs and emotional breakdowns when they let you go. You always got to be having something you doing outside of the job. Always. So in his case, okay, you're an analyst on ESPN. Cool. You need to have your own podcast where you talk about sports all day, every day. You see what I'm saying? He has the Pivot podcast where he kind of breaks down, you know, athletes, and he kind of gives inside stories to these athletes, X, Y, and Z, which is good. But as you can see, ESPN was still kind of his motion a little bit. That was his thing. A lot of people, you know, we have this thing where we kind of have to have the cosign of white society. Never let your job be your motion. Your job is your job. It is what it is. You're there to do business. And never let business become personal. Okay? Yeah, you can shake a few hands. You can always be respectful on the job, but have motion outside of the job. Okay? Number two, the money that you make from the job, always be investing that money in something that's going to make you more money. Because a lot of times we have these emotional crash outs when we get fired because we ain't got no damn money saved up. Your ass been making $150, $200, $250, $300,000 a year, and you didn't went and bought you a loft in the city. And now you you lose that job. Now you finna lose your whole lifestyle. You see what I'm saying, family? You didn't over invested in a lifestyle that you can't maintain without this job. Instead of getting that money and saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to keep my means right here. I'm not going to live above my means. I'm single. I don't have no family. You see what I'm saying? I don't have no children, X, Y, and Z. I don't need a 5-bedroom house in the suburbs that costs $500,000. Hell, I might not even need a house right now. I might just need an apartment. Let me get a nice apartment, X, Y, and Z, that I can maintain. And let me take that money on the back end and make investments, smart moves. Let me get me some real estate. Let me invest in some tax liens. Let me invest in some stocks. How about everything you consume, you need to try to be an investor in? This is the mindset we have to have when we get at these jobs. You making $250,000 a year, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That don't mean your lifestyle got to be a $250,000 a year lifestyle, because understand the space in which you're operating. These folks at any time can cut you off. And a lot of you, unfortunately, you're at these jobs because these folks are trying to do some type of little DEI thing. So the moment they don't have to do that no more, then they find a reason to get you up out of there. You got to know that. You got to make every check count. Every check count. You see what I'm saying? And you got to use them just as much as they use you. Okay? Use them just as much as they use you. Even like me, family, going back to my college days, when I was in college, family, I used to work at Walmart. You know, like many college students, I would work at Walmart. I was pushing the carts. I made $600 every 2 weeks. $600 every 2 weeks. And listen, you couldn't tell me shit with that $600. Okay? You couldn't tell me shit with that $600. Nigga, I was balling. I was balling out of control. But one thing I always did with that $600 in college, I said, hey, man, $300, man, I'm going to take my lady out, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go to the movies because you ain't really much shit you doing in college. You know, you going to the movies, X, Y, and Z. But I'm going to take this other $300 and I'm going to invest. Okay? I bought Bitcoin. every 2 weeks. Okay, I put money in the stock market. I bought Walmart stock every 2 weeks. Investing, having your money work for you, family. Therefore, when I got fired from Walmart, because I went on some bullshit, I wasn't finna stay after and continue to throw the truck. I was like, well, shit, it is what it is. The business relationship's been ended, but I can go and show you where half of my money went. I still had half of it, and that half was still working for me. I still have those Walmart shares to this day. I still have that Apple stock that I bought. When I was in college, Apple was $36 a share. Go look at the price of Apple now. Go look at the price of Apple now. When I was at Walmart, taking them a little hundreds and $200 and working at Walmart out there pushing them damn carts in college, I made sure I at least bought 2 shares of Apple every 2 weeks for $36 a share. Apple is sitting at over $300 a share now. I'm gonna let the conspiracy theories mind wonder about how many Apple shares that I have and shit, because I know some of the tethers in the room. That nigga, that is a grift. I know niggas, let niggas mind wonder. Yeah, it's $304 a share now. You see what I'm saying? Making that money work for me. I wasn't sitting over there, and that's just a small example. That's how you make it. So yeah, I'm still eating off Walmart. Yeah, I'm still living good off Walmart. Them little Walmart checks I had. I know where they are, and I can look at them. I say, damn, that was a good investment. I never thought this was a long-term relationship that me and Walmart had. I never thought we were married. I never thought they would never fire me. I know how I am. I'm not going for no bullshit. I'm not going for no bullshit. So every check I get, I'm going to make sure I save a little bit, invest a little bit, put a little to the side, X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to keep my lifestyle like this. I didn't get that job and say, hey, man, I'm going to save up. I want to go down to Miami, X, Y, and Z. You dig? Nah, I don't need to go on vacation. I just need to, my girl at the time, take her to the movies, take her, get her nails done, little shit like that. Nothing crazy. We not finna start stepping it up. Nah. I'm finna invest in. I'm finna make power moves, family. That's what you do. Another example, shout out to our brother Shannon Sharp, our good FBA brother Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was up there getting disrespected by Skip Bayless, his white co-host, on Undisputed. How many of y'all remember that? Skip Bayless was disrespecting that man every goddamn show. All right? It came a certain time where brother Shannon said, okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm going to walk away from the show. But one thing our brother Shannon did from the moment he got on that show, he got motion. He didn't let Undisputed become his motion. He created motion outside of his job. He had Club Shay Shay. He had Nightcap. He started getting products, got his own wine or cognac line. You get motion outside of your job and you make investments using the checks you're getting from the job. Now our brother is making more money now than he ever did on Undisputed, according to him. That brother had the biggest interview in YouTube history once he got off Undisputed, the Cat Williams interview. I think that interview, what does that interview got? 60, 70 million views? Some people said he made upwards of $5 million off that interview. But he planted that seed. He used the money he was getting from Undisputed. He said, no, I'm going to use this to fund my own motion and be my own boss. Now nobody can control me. What you don't do is get on a goddamn podcast. What you don't do as a young black man or woman is get out here and start whining and crying, because what Brian is doing, unfortunately, is looking for sympathy. No. Stop looking for white sympathy. Stop looking for white sympathy. Let me tell you something. When white people see you, especially as foundational black American men, crying after being fired, that empowers them. Understand, white people feed off black trauma. I really want y'all to understand that. White folks feed off of that. They be on World Star Hip Hop more than we do. They love seeing black trauma, black chaos, black folks fighting, you crying about some shit. That's why every time, like I had a lot of white supremacists when Carmelo got served with 35 years. Oh, Chase, how do you feel about it? How do you feel? Oh, they want you to be so downtrodden and sad. You know what makes the white supremacists angry? When we're happy. You know what makes them angry? If our brother Ryan Clark had got fired off that show, and then he started exposing how much other businesses he has and how he has so much more motion now. That's what makes them angry. You want to get back at the job? Go somewhere and do better. Have your own thing and do better. Oh, yeah, they hate Black joy. They hate Black joy. Other groups do too. They can't stand to see foundational Black Americans happy. They're out here getting deported. ICE is running in their house, and we out here doing the electric slide at the family reunion. They constantly, what are y'all dancing about? Y'all out here dancing, and ICE is kicking in your door. ICE ain't kicking in my door. Huh? Yeah, we doing the electric slide at the family reunion. We got the boots on the ground. We cool in it. They hate to see that. They hate to see that, family. Don't you get your ass up here on these podcasts and start crying. That's the worst thing you can do. And those same children that Ryan Clark was inspiring, they're demoralized because they like, God damn, this nigga, I looked up to him. Especially Ryan Clark, when you have a podcast, this nigga's podcast is called The Pivot. Brother Ryan, you got on, hold on.
You know,
You doing all this wine in your shirt. You got on The Pivot podcast. Nigga, you pivot. That's demoralizing too. It's nothing worse than a Black, and I'm not trying to tear down Brother Ryan Clark. I'm not trying to tear him down, but I'm just trying to give you some tough love from a youngin because you're older than me. Okay? You're older than me. So I'm telling you as a youngin, damn it, I hate when older men portray a lifestyle or portray a mindset that they never apply. You can't have a podcast called Pivot and then something happens in your life and your ass is crying, you stuck in the same place. Nigga, if you don't pivot, nigga, I would have turned that firing from ESPN to $1 million. I would have galvanized Black people across America. You're not finna catch me crying. I'm finna go on tour while my name is hot. I'm finna go on tour, nigga. I'm gonna be speaking on sports in your city. I'm gonna go on the Chitlin circuit. Nigga, I'm gonna be in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm gonna be down in Columbus, Georgia. I'm going to all the spots of my main supporters. Spots that people don't go. I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. I'm going over to Memphis. You dig? I'm going to Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm hitting the Chitlin circuit. I'm going to turn this firing and why my name is hot for being done wrong into $1 million. And I'm going to live my brand. My brand is Pivot. I'm going to show you how to pivot. That's what you do with that situation. And that's when suspected white supremacist companies like ESPN say, damn, we might need to get this nigga back on the show. Like you couldn't pay someone to get Shannon Sharp on the show now. You see what I'm saying? Because he got so much motion. He's bigger. More people tune into his show than they do to ESPN to watch some of these BS shows that you're pulling up. That's what you do, family. That's what you do. You understand me? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, you pivot. Always pivot. I don't be, yeah, my fault, family. I'll be missing the comments and stuff. Yeah, come on now. Get right, FBAs. You the culture. You the motion. Okay? You the ones that make these shows hot. You the one that make these leagues and sports leagues hot. You the one that make these music genres jump off. You are the motion. You are the reason people tune in. Nobody want to see a Chad Lumpkin, some country bumpkin, talk about sports. They want to see somebody who actually plays sports at the highest level, but has the swagger, okay, has the intellect to cross over to all audiences. And that's what foundational Black Americans can do. Foundational Black Americans, we can talk to the FBA family. We can talk to Black people in general. We can translate into other groups of white folks, whatever like that. We can talk to anybody. Always say we're multilingual. We can hit home and speak to anybody, and we have the experience. You see what I'm saying? So you use that to build your own platform, and you use the money that you get from these jobs to fund your motion. Bottom line, family. Bottom line. But enough of that. Let's get into let's get into the topic of today. Let's get into the topic of today, family. In the topic of today, we got to talk. Are FBAs to blame for the tension and division in the diaspora? Okay. Are FBAs to blame for the tension and division in the diaspora? Okay. Now, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this? We're constantly berated with a bunch of Pan-Africanists, tethers, Democratic shields, just any and everybody, Latinos, talking about we're dividing people, foundational Black Americans in particular. Goddamn shame on us. We're dividing people. Okay? We're pushing division. And I saw this video from y'all boy, Umar Johnson. Okay, now Umar, he every couple of days, he has these hissy fits about FBA. Okay, he has these hissy fits about FBA. And so this time he's blaming us for the Rick Child acquittal. Okay, now let's listen to Umar. Let's listen to Umar and just break down from a logical point of what he's saying.
Remember, the white man loves the East Indians and the Asians because they are small populations, first of all, but they're growing. They're upwardly mobile, and they share the same hate towards Black people as they do. So they're protecting Asians and Chinese and Asians because, first of all, white people numbers are dwindling. Yes. And they're going to substitute Asians and East Indians for them in this country, not to mention America needs East India, because they the
Now, and this is the thing about Umar and Pan-Africanists. They be talking some good talk at times, but they always gonna go back to FBA. And this shows them we are the main characters. Foundational Black Americans are the main characters, I would argue, of the world. Everybody looks to us. Everybody's trying to siphon something off of us, especially people of our skin complexion. Okay, so he's talking about Asians and he's getting on the Asian communities. He's saying some good things. He's saying some good things that I would agree with. But it's gonna come back home. They're gonna bring it back home. Here we go.
Fastest growing population in the world. They the tech giant of the world. America cannot afford to be on bad terms with India, because if India links up with Russia and China, America got problems. And Donald Trump just signed what? An agreement with China worth billions of dollars. They can't afford to upset the Chinese people. So guess what? Chinese Americans and Chinese immigrants, East Indian Americans and East Indian immigrants, they're always going to be protected by the government because of Donald Trump's relationship with India and China. And this is why we get the hell we get, Loon. Yes, we're Black, but we're also disorganized with the diaspora. We don't have any permanent diplomatic public political relationship with any African nation states that can speak up on our behalf. Remember, Cuba had Russia. Fidel Castro was smart enough to know I cannot survive America without a diplomatic relationship with a world power. Where's Black America's diplomatic relationship with an African power? We don't have one. We foundational Black Americans. We American descendants of slaves.
Lord. And like I said, they're going to pivot back to us. It all comes down to FBA. The problem is FBA. We're the reason for the division in the diaspora. Number one, anybody tell me this, and let me humble myself. Family. And I'm asking a genuine question. He says Foundational Black Americans don't have no relationship with no African power. Cuba had a relationship with a superpower that is Russia. Umar, where's the African power? What country in Africa is a superpower? Can anybody tell me that? Can anybody, let me take 30 seconds, family, in the comments section. I know we got some tethers in here. I know we got some cool brothers and sisters who have immigrant heritage who just want to hear what I got to say. Can y'all tell me the African country that's a superpower that we need to have a relationship with that is running shit? Let me humble myself. I'm looking at the comment section. I see a lot of none. No. Huh? They love running around here talking about you need to have a relationship with these African countries. And what is the benefit? What is the benefit? Is Ghana going to send their army over here when we're being unalived by these white supremacists and law enforcement? Is Ghana going to send us some tangibles and resources? Huh? Is Ghana going to come over here and build schools? What the hell is the point of the relationship? Where is the African superpower? Huh? Can anybody tell me all this Wakanda nonsense? You don't have a relationship with these African powers. You don't know what you're missing. Cuba had a relationship with Russia. Where is the African version of Russia? What country are you saying is our Russia? Understand, Russia got nukes. What African country has nukes? Russia has one of the top militaries in the world. What African country has one of the top militaries in the world? I'm waiting, Africans, Pan-Africanists. Family, if we're going to keep up, if we're talking about the most powerful nation of Black people in the world, you're talking about FBA. If we were our own nation, we would be the most powerful nation in the world. We would be the wealthiest nation. I'm talking about amongst Black folks in the world. The most influential nation of Black people in the world would be foundational Black Americans. That's why y'all can't keep our names out y'all mouth. That's why y'all keep crashing out. That's why on podcasts like Godfrey's 54 Africa podcast, every goddamn episode, you ain't talking about the 54 African countries. You talking about one group, one ethnic group in America that's foundational Black Americans. Because we are the most powerful, most influential, wealthiest nation of Black people on the face of the earth. And y'all keep trying to run this reverse psychology game like, no, y'all ain't powerful. Y'all ain't influential. You need to get with these African superpowers, but you can't never name the damn superpower. I don't want to hear nothing about no damn African superpower when y'all sitting over there in places like South Africa where they got a 5% white population dominating the 95%. I don't want to hear nothing about African superpowers when some of the biggest slums in the world is in Africa, like in places like Kenya. I don't want to hear nothing about African superpowers when you got $1 trillion worth of resources underneath your feet and your people making $2 a day. Until y'all get some nukes, some military, okay, and some real power, and you start really whooping some ass around there, I don't want to hear nothing about superpowers. I don't want to hear nothing about it, family. Plain and simple. So miss me with that shit. And let's go with the whole division thing. Okay, because they love pushing this division shit. Now, these folks, they don't say nothing. I mean, family, there's literally over 3,000 tribes in Africa. Can anybody name, let's come back to us. Let's come back to foundational Black Americans. Can anybody name any situation where foundational Black Americans have unalived thousands of Haitians, Jamaicans, Nigerians, Tanzanian, whatever other Black ethnic group is in this country? Have we committed any genocide versus any other group of people in general in general, white, black, Latino, whatever. The audacity for these folks to sit up here and say we're divisive. We're the reason why there is no relationship between us and the continent. It's us who have done nothing but for decade after decade uplift black folks globally. Uplift black folks globally. There are millions of black immigrants living in this country that benefit directly from our sacrifices during the civil rights movement and prior. They benefit directly from that. And we're the one who is the reason why there's no relationship. 8 years of people calling themselves foundational Black Americans has just, oh God, it's just torn apart the diaspora. And here's another pivotal question, since they always saying we're divisive, we're dividing people, we're causing tension. Oh, you FBA niggas, y'all just, oh my God, you're the CIA. When we're Africans, when we're Caribbeans, when we're y'all globally all one? When are y'all niggas ever together? Put us to the side, nigga. They're fighting in the Congo now, family. Right now, as I'm speaking on this live, niggas is out there chopping up each other's limbs in the Congo. They're fighting in Sudan now. South Africans are taking hyena legs. South Africans are taking baboon arms. Huh? South Africans are taking buffalo tusks and whooping Nigerians in their damn country. Beating them with it, kicking them out the country, sending them fleeing. We don't do that. You don't see no foundational Black Americans running around here with golf clubs, running after Haitians. Get out my country. We don't do none of that bullshit. We just say, hey man, I'm not finna co-sign, I'm not finna crash out for you. Now, if you want to fight the white man about deporting you, knock yourself out. But nigga, I'm not finna risk my life or my energy fighting the white man for someone who doesn't even respect me. For someone who comes over here and says, I have no culture. I'm lazy. I don't know where I'm from. I'm good, family. We're good. We are good. You dig? And these folks are hypocrites. They sit over there, they allow all that division to go on in the diaspora and they barely talk about it. Nobody goes over there and tell them to stop calling themselves Igbo, Fulani, Tutsi, Hutu, Zulu. Man, hey man, that's divisive. You're being divisive when you say that. If you call yourself Igbo, you are part of the CIA. That's what these fools sit up here and say. FBA is CIA. Well, what is Igbo? Huh? What are the Hutu who damn near slaughtered 1 million Tutsis in Rwanda? What are they? Are they the CIA? Are they connected to MI6? Do they have some type of governmental involvement? Are they a hate group? No, that's just tribal differences, right? Huh? That's a misunderstanding, right? These other folks can commit murder and they still cool with them identifying with their lineage and heritage. If we say together, oh, that's the end of the world. Get the hell out of here, family. Get the hell out of here with it. But let's see what else Umar has to say.
I don't even want to use the word African. I'm a foundational Black American. And look what you got. Foundational convictions, foundational murders. Any African in America who doesn't recognize the need for us to have a diplomatic, political, public relationship with some African countries is out of his damn mind. The only respect you get in America as a non-white person is based on the country you identified with.
There's
Huh? So we don't get no respect unless we identify with the country. First of all, we do. We said we're foundational Black American, Umar. We're American. Now, what you're saying is that the white people in America don't respect foundational Black Americans. What I'm saying as an FBA is I don't give a damn what white people respect. They got to come off them resources. They going to come off them reparations. They going to come up with them rights and laws. That's what our ancestors did. We don't give a damn if white people don't want us to go to the same school they going to. They going to do it. See, that's what we do. We stand on business. Other groups flee. This whole thing where the white people don't like y'all, FBA, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if white folks don't like me. I really want y'all to understand that. Because that's the big thing. They keep trying to, oh, you need to connect to an African country because the white people don't like you. Who gives a damn? This is my country. We predate the white folks here. The white folks are guests. See, y'all have to kiss white ass. You care if the white folks like you because the white folks are the ones controlling you being able to come here. Your only sense of belonging was your attachment to foundational Black Americans who built America, because we're the only one, we're uncheckable. Nobody can check us in this country. Ooh, we can pull rank on anybody. We're the oldest ethnic group in this damn country. Okay, even going back prior to, or if not at the same time as the red-skinned natives, we can claim indigenous heritage if we want to. Plain and simple. We can go back to the documentations. You did? We can go back to the paintings of Louis Cloris. You did? We can go back to the accounts of Giovanni Veracino, the Italian explorer who went to South Carolina. He said these were Black people that he met. We can go to the notebooks and the journals of the Christopher Columbuses of the world, who he said the natives told him that black-skinned people came trading with gold-tipped spears. Yeah. We can go to the accounts of Theodore Johnson, who went to the California. He said, man, this look like, these natives out here look like they're a little tribe of Africans. That's how Black they were. You know, we can rattle off the receipts and the names. We can go to them big fat ass Olmec heads down there in Mexico that y'all keep trying to spin. Y'all keep trying to say, well, they not really Black. Nigga, you got Olmec heads sitting down there with damn cornrows in the back. And niggas be saying, oh, I don't know if they Black now. I think that's a feather. I think that's a feather. I don't think there's no cornrow. Nigga got cornrows in his head. Huh? You go down to Mexico, they got statues of the Olmecs called El Negro. You got Olmec statues with afros on their damn head. So yeah, we can pull the indigenous connection. We can just simply pull a connection of we are the group of people who literally built the United States of America. The United States of America would not exist if it wasn't for us, sir. He's sitting up here talking about, oh yeah, y'all got foundational Black problems. You got foundational Black killings. And we also have the #1 country in the world that we built from scratch. We also got stable electricity because of our ancestors like Louis Latimer. We also got goddamn the three-way traffic light system. We also got culture that has influenced the world from jazz to blues to hip hop. We also have $1 trillion spending of power. Let's throw all the shit in. If you want to throw in the negativity, let's throw in the positivity too. And we also have a culture that has been fighting these white supremacists tooth and nail since 1526, since we stepped off the boat. Y'all could never compare. And we did all of it being 13% of the population. We ain't sitting up here 95% of the population like in the powerful African countries that you talk about we need to have a relationship with. These niggas sitting up there 95% of the population getting slapped up by the 5%. I wish a nigga would. Nigga, please. We 13% of the population been standing on business for 500 years. And that's why y'all asses is over here safe and sound talking that African shit. Huh? The biggest Pan-Africans in the world always over here with us. Because we don't go for that bullshit. The Argentina fans saw that real quick when they came here. You get over here talking that bullshit, you can get hands and feet put on you. So yeah, we have issues. as foundational Black Americans? Without question. But we ain't fleeing. We ain't running. We gonna stand 10 toes down and fight for what's ours, okay, and the justice we deserve. So I'm proud to be a foundational Black American. And that's why y'all upset. They upset, family. They upset because foundational Black Americans are looking out for foundational Black Americans now. See, we've been the mules of the diaspora. Everybody wants to latch on to our boat and ride us up out of their situation. Everybody wants to convince us to use our influence to big up them, build up Africa. Use your power and influence to build up Africa. Invest in Africa. Come to Africa. Drop a gang of money on Africa. While at the same time telling us we have no influence. We have no real power. That's the irony of these situations, family. They tell us we're this lost stray group who has no power. You're just getting killed. No one likes you. White people don't like you. Y'all be mismanaging your money. You ain't got nothing. You ain't never gonna have nothing in America. But then every time you look up, they asking us for something. Hey, Brother Chase, can you talk about what's going on in the Congo? Wait, hold on, nigga. We ain't got no influence, remember? Huh? Hey, man, can y'all visit Africa? Y'all need to come to Africa. Why, nigga, to drop off a bag that we don't have, according to y'all? You know, they always saying, oh, you niggas ain't really got no money. That's fiat currency. But every time you look up on them damn African tours, they sure want $6,000-7,000 of that fiat currency, don't they? Yeah, we see the game for what it is. And see, now that you have to hold your own nuts, now that you, quote unquote, as we used to say, you have to eat what you kill, not what we kill. See, we've been feeding all these fools around the diaspora, and now they have to feed themselves or pay homage to the people who is feeding them, which is us. Now all of a sudden they're crying foul. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna be the bad guy. I'm gonna be the bad guy. Okay, this one-sided relationship we got with folks, that shit is over. So you can call it division, you can call it tension, you can call it what you want to. It's the new order of the day. It's the new order of the day. And here's a lesson to the Pan-Africanists. Here's a lesson to the Pan-Africanists and the people in the diaspora just in general. No one's stopping y'all from unifying. Family, nothing we're doing is causing them to fight right now in the Congo. Foundational Black Americans are not the reason they're fighting in the Congo. Foundational Black Americans aren't the reason they're fighting in Sudan. Foundational Black Americans aren't the reason South Africans is whooping Nigerians' ass. I just seen the other day Ghanaians kicked out some Nigerians. We're not the reason for that. So we're not stopping anything. We're not stopping a unified Africa. We're not stopping a unified Caribbean. In fact, we want to see y'all unified. We want to see y'all get y'all shit together. We would love to see it. We're not stopping that. You can still do it. But see, the problem is you don't want to do it. You can't do it. We were the last pillar. We were the last foundation of Pan-Africanism. We were the last group out here actually believing that shit. They don't believe that shit anywhere else. Remember, Pan-Africanism, family, is an American concept, meaning it comes out of the Americas. That don't come out of Africa. Pan-Africanism does not come out of Africa. That is an American concept, meaning South and North America, particularly the Caribbean. And it was popularized amongst foundational Black Americans. So they feel like if our pillar moves away, that shit comes crashing down. So they're panicking, and that's good. Use that panic to get your shit together. Okay? Use that panic to get your shit together. Bottom line. But we're in a blame FBA era. A blame FBA. We're in this blame FBA era, family. Just like I said in this video the other day. This is Tyler. Now y'all know This is your girl, Tyler. And Tyler's she's kind of trying to spin the block. And, you know, shout out to Tyler. You know, she messed up and she paid the price for it. Okay. Tyler got up there on the Breakfast Club and they asked her a very simple question. You know, they asked her, you know, could you explain color? Explain this whole color thing. You're identifying as color. Explain it. Tyler turned around, looked at her team and said, nigga, didn't I tell you I wasn't answering these questions? And her publicist said, oh, yeah, we're not answering those types of questions. And she faced the backlash from it. So Tyler's trying to spin the block, okay? And she's on these press runs now. And the whole blame FBA thing is coming up. Let's listen to Tyler.
What did you learn of just about?
I should say the narrative of blame FBA amongst people is going around and running rampant.
Out of the racial dynamics of the world after that blowback. What did you learn of just about kind of the racial dynamics of the world after that blowback?
I mean, initially, it was very difficult because prior to the Breakfast Club, I did answer that question. And already I started getting backlash and I was like, whoa, I don't know what else to say about it, you know, because I never had to explain myself.
Yeah.
You know, I was just always myself and living, you know, 22 years of my life, all I knew was that I'm colored. And that's what I was told. It's what, like, I had to tick on boxes back home. And when I was able to travel the world and learn more about the world, I then learned just how big the world is, you know, and how different each country is, how different context is. So when I learned about what it means here, I was like, whoa, like this is going to be a difficult conversation to have.
Yeah, right.
Because in South Africa, we also have a derogatory term. So I feel like if someone were to come to our country and say they were that, I get why it would, you know.
Be triggering.
Very triggering. So, yeah, I feel like just having a lot of conversations and learning more about it, I know that being colored is like my culture, you know, it exists in my context, but I'm also black, you know, like being...
Tyler's black now, family. Did y'all know that? Oh, boy. Foundational Black Americans, y'all been taking off that belt. Y'all putting belt to ass. Got these folks getting some act right. Oh, Tyler, now she's black. Tyler, it would have been nice to hear that on the Breakfast Club, Queen. Queen, it would have been nice to hear that on the Breakfast Club. That's all you had to say. All you had to say was, hey, man, in my country, I would be considered colored because that's how, you know, racially we identify X, Y, and Z. But, you know, over here, of course, I'm a black woman. That would have been cool to hear on the Breakfast Club. Or we putting BTA, belt to ass, out here and folks are spinning the block. Okay.
Colored is something that happened through a lot of pain. Our South African history is very painful. We were separated from each other and given these names, and colored became our culture. So it's still something that we're very prideful about. But yeah, I think it was a very important thing for me to go through and learn, and for the conversations to just open up, you know. And I just hope whoever sees this can make their videos on TikTok and like maybe we can come to some sort of understanding. It's just such a huge conversation to have.
Boy, don't she sound like she sound like a kid who just got a whooping, don't she? Yeah, I had to learn my lesson. Yeah, y'all gonna have to learn your lesson. Yeah, foundational black, we putting belt to ass. Y'all gonna have to learn your lessons. They're so used to this culture of disrespect. When they come here, they get to disrespect us. They get to say what they want, do what they want. They don't have to explain themselves. They come here rolling their neck. Okay. Yeah, there's gonna be consequences for all that little sassiness. That's what my mama used to tell my sister, don't get sassy. Don't you get sassy. They come here with all this sassiness, telling us who they are and what we need to understand. No. And even in the comment section, again, it's blame FBA. Hold on. Now, this is why I want to talk about this video. Even in the comment section, let me share my screen. Hold on one second, family. Because they're out here trying to blame FBA. 1 second. Now, this is in the comment section of the video. Can y'all see? Oh, let me make it big. Y'all really can't see that. Let me. Okay, we're gonna have to leave it. I'll just read off some comments for you guys. Let me zoom in. That's what I need to do. Let me zoom in. Oops. Okay. Let me zoom in. Can y'all see that, family? Look at the comment section. And by the way, Ebro is half FBA himself. He's out here. He talks a lot of craziness about FBA. Here's the first comment. I hate that American ignorance forces her to have to abandon her knowledge of self for American comfort and acceptance. You see the narratives they're playing in the comment section. We're the bad guys. We're the bad guys, family. Okay? We didn't ask her to abandon any goddamn thing. We asked her to explain what color is. But see, they have this notion that when they come over here, they don't have to explain anything. They don't have to explain anything to us. They can come into the country that we built and benefit off the culture that we made possible, because Tyler pretty much does a South African R&B. They try to put all these little African spins to what they do. They do a South African version of R&B. That's why they're trying to model her as the new Aaliyah. Okay? They come over here and they want to tell us what we need to accept. Nigga, fuck you. I'm going to say it. Fuck you. We don't have to accept anything. You in the house we built. Huh? You in the house we built. Let's look at the other comment. Okay? To this day, I don't understand why she got so much hate and vitriol. The world is not the United States. The world ain't the United States. Kuye booye. But goddamn it, she was in the United States. See how that works? She wasn't in the world. She was in the United States of America. So when you're in the United States of America, you need to understand the culture and the people you're talking to. See how that works, family? When I step into other people's house or other people step into my house, okay, I have a rule of take off your shoes at the door. Take off your shoes at the door, family. Now, through your house, in your house, you might walk around with your shoes on. That's cool. I can't do nothing about it. That's in your house. But when you step foot in my house, take off your goddamn shoes. I don't want to hear nobody lecturing me, man. Come on, man. Why I gotta take off my shoes? Do you know in my house I walk around with my shoes on? And my floor be clean all the time? I don't give a damn. You ain't in your house. They got this thing where we're supposed to bend over backwards to their rules that they have in their country while they're in our country. No, nigga, take off your shoes or get out. Plain and simple. And vice versa. When I go to other people's house, I go by their rules of their house. Plain and simple. It's not that difficult. That's basic common courtesy. You dig? Let's look at another comment. Oh, here come another damn African. Oh, they were mad in the comment section because they viewed that as them taking an L to foundational Black Americans. They viewed that bending the knee. Americans call themselves the N-word all the time, but a foreigner calling themselves a color is derogatory and triggering to them. Don't they sound like white folks, family? This sounds like white folks. Why can't I say nigga? You call yourself nigga. Why can't I kill you? What about black on black crime? Huh? And again, no one says she couldn't call herself color. The issue was she didn't even want to explain what color is. She didn't want to answer any racial conversations. Okay, on the Breakfast Club I'm speaking about. You dig? Plain and simple. And yes, we do use the N-word over here in the Americas. That's our prerogative. We're in our house, ma'am. We're in our house, okay? The house we built. And I guarantee you, your ass is over here in the United States with us. We can do what we want in our house. Listen to how these folks talk. Listen to how these folks talk. I might tell you to take off your shoes at the door when you step in my house, and I might walk around with my shoes. I can do what the hell I want in my house. I can be hypocritical in my damn house. It's my house. See how that works, family? Do you see how that works? Just like y'all are hypocritical over there in Africa. You got niggas on the continent telling us about unity while being divisive in their own country, while having 3,000 tribes in their own continent. That's hypocritical. Huh? Yeah, I mean, they just whine and all in the Western culture is so tiring. She never said anything wrong, okay? Thanks, brother Ebro. And again, remember, Ebro is half FBA. He's got a white mother, but he did a lot of deals. He put on a lot of South African musicians, okay? Okay, so they thanking Ebro. Yet they celebrate the NAACP award, okay? National Association Advancement of Colored People. Oh, and again, we asked her to explain what colored is. We asked her to explain what colored is, and we understand the NAACP that was involved. That was from like the 1920s. That was from like the 1920s, family. Oh, so they're extra mad. Okay, here comes South Africans. I'm a proud colored girl. Okay, living in America, of course you are. But I don't expect Americans to understand. Even though this country is a melting pot of people from all over, the lack of cultural competency remains apparent. Oh, they're just in there whining and crying. All of these fools are in America. So like I say, we putting a lot of belt to ass out here, family. And that's the reason why a lot of them are upset. They're upset. They view Tyler coming out here and kind of walking it back and calling herself black as an L. They view themselves always in competition with foundational Black Americans. Okay? They view themselves in constant competition with foundational Black Americans, and they don't want to lose that war that they've cropped up between us. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And again, somebody says stop begging foreigners to identify as Black. We're not begging them to do anything. But one thing you're going to do is when we ask your ass a question over here, you're going to give us an answer. You're going to give us an answer. That's the whole principle of the Tyler situation. She got her ass up there on the Breakfast Club and she act like she was too good to answer a question. And a lot of people before that situation, they were questioning whether Tyler was even Black. And I'm speaking Black from a racial standpoint, just saying as a race. Okay, that's a term. Okay, not ethnically Black, but racially Black. A lot of people were like, hey, is she East Indian? Because remember, people over in South Africa, they call themselves colored and have no Black admixture. They can be like East Indian and white. They can be white Afrikaners and East Indians, and they mix together and they'll call themselves colored. So people were saying, is she even Black? Or is she just a dark-skinned East Indian? That's what people were asking. So when she didn't even want to question, people said, oh, well, nigga, let me wipe my hands clean of this. Because I'm not going to support no cosplaying vulture. Yeah. So she out here, she got to get some get right now. Shout out for the next super chat. What's that? Bija 1980. Proud Black American in the house. Somebody said, proud Black American in the house who embraces my African and Indigenous Native American ancestry. We Black Americans must embrace both ethnicities if we have both in our ethnic background. Respect. And again, I've always said that I probably have some African ancestry going back. Okay. I haven't found any Africans on paper. Nobody who's saying, hey, they were born in Africa or the continent of Africa, but I'm pretty sure that I have some African ancestry going back. But the bottom line is we had an ethnogenesis. We had an ethnogenesis in this country. That's the bottom line. And we also have indigenous ties and indigenous ancestries to the country. Plain and simple. We're an amalgamation of several different groups of people. And that's what makes foundational Black Americans unique. We're not a monolith. Okay, so salute to you, fam. Oh yeah, they crashing out in the comment section, ain't it? They view that as an L. They can't stand when they have to acknowledge our power. So her apologizing, they like, damn, Tyler, why did you apologize? You supposed to stand on that. You supposed to, man, they be around there calling themselves nigga, and you supposed to stand on that. They sound just like the white folks. You know, when white folks unalive us, oh, what about black on black crime? Y'all be killing each other. Yeah, they're acting like that makes it right for them to do whatever the hell they want to do. No. You're going to respect foundational Black Americans in the country we built, especially when you're eating off of the country we built. You're coming here to eat off the culture we created. No. We ain't going to allow no disrespect. You're going to answer our questions when you come in the house, plain and simple. But they're always doing this little passive aggressive stuff. Just like this post went viral, family. This post went viral on Instagram. It had like over 80,000 likes on it. Now, this is an AI post, but it had over 80,000 likes on Instagram. Okay? And it says, I'm from Brooklyn, where no one is American. Oh, boy. It says, where my New York family at? Where my New York family at? It said, I'm from Brooklyn, where no one is American. And behind him, it got all these Caribbean flags. It's Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, the Bahamas, X, Y, and Z. This is the little passive aggressive shit they do all the time, family. And the Pan-Africanists and the tethers play innocent like they don't know what's going on. They knew this was a direct shot. Him posting this is a direct shot at foundational Black Americans. This is about erasure, family. And all of this is about erasure. Okay? This is the shit they post. And let me go to the Instagram post. Hold on. Okay. Let me go to the Instagram post. Let me remove this. Let me put up this. Here we go. Okay, this is the Instagram post. And as you can see, it got 81,000 likes. All the Caribbean, they love posts like this. And I tell y'all, family, all the time, you have to understand that a lot of these Black foreigners, they have a Columbus mindset. I really want y'all to understand that. They have a Columbus mindset. Let me get on the big screen for this because I really want y'all to see my face when I say this. A lot of foreigners have a Christopher Columbus mindset. They try to rewrite or start history when they arrive on the scene. Let me say that again. This is a common theme amongst a lot of Black foreigners. Not all, because you got some riders out there, but the tether class especially. They try to rewrite history or start history when they arrive on the scene. So them coming there and flooding Brooklyn after the 1970s, they try to do this whole hostile takeover thing like Brooklyn is theirs now. They do this everywhere they go. I tell y'all all the time the history down there in Miami. Before it was called Little Haiti, it was called Lemon City. Lemon City had a strong, vibrant, foundational Black American history and culture. Lemon City predates the city of Miami down there. But none of you have heard of Lemon City. Why? Because Haitians petitioned for it to be renamed Little Haiti. So now it's known as Little Haiti. Why? Because Haitian immigrants flooded the market and just erased us out the picture completely. So now they call the neighborhood Little Haiti. This is what they do. It's a Columbus mindset. They do the same thing with hip hop. Kool Herc comes to New York in the 1960s as a 13-year-old teenage boy, and that's when hip hop started. Now, every element of hip hop, from breakdancing, okay, to MCing, to graffiti, okay, to what's my other one? Breakdancing, graffiti, to DJing. All of that existed within foundational Black American culture prior to Kool Herc arriving. You had the Disco King Marios of the world. Okay, you had the Trixies, X, Y, and Z. You had the Pigmeat Markhams out here rapping. Louis Jordan out here rapping. Decades prior. but they like to start history when they arrive on the scene, similar to Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus made it to the island of Hispaniola, and this motherfucker said he discovered this shit. He literally shook the hands of people on the island and said, well, you know what? I discovered this shit. How the hell you discover something, okay, when people are already there greeting you? This is what they do, family. They flood the area, and then they do this hostile takeover where Brooklyn is now Caribbean, and we're guests in our own country, in our own cities. We're guests. And then they come to the comment section, family, and they do things like this. They do things like this in the comment section. Hold on. Hold on one second. They do things like this. This is that little gaslighting stuff that they like to do, family. Let me go down here. Let me make it a little bigger. And shout out to the FBAs, because a lot of FBAs were on their bumper in the comment, on this dude's bumper in the comment section. But they do little things like this. So y'all gonna start diaspora wars in the comments over an AI post? Don't fall for it. See, they always make it about our response. It's never about the initial transgression. Okay? It's never about the initial violation, family. It's always about our response. It's the problem is y'all FBAs be responding. Someone calls us an Akata and we get on a bumper. Oh, you starting a diaspora war. Why you responding? Like, just ignore it. They always do stuff like that. They always do stuff like that. But shout out to the Foundation of Black Americans in the comments section. Shout out to this brother right here. He says immigrants wouldn't be able to walk this country if it wasn't for Black Americans. Facts. Okay. Now, this is somebody saying I didn't actually meet true Black Americans until I moved out of NYC, and there's definitely was a culture shock. Like, what you mean you don't like beans, peas, and rice? Okay. And that's very interesting because immigrants always claim to be people who travel. Okay. They always claim to be more traveled than us. They know about geography more than us. They know about world history more than us. Okay. Here's somebody saying, I'm from Brooklyn and I'm the only one that's not an immigrant. Laughing emoji. Both parents from New York. Shout out to the FBAs in the comments section. Okay. It said, this is a great comment. I had to like this comment. It said, that's the problem with Caribbean people. Give them a mile and they take 10. Why can't y'all just be thankful that the city allowed y'all to celebrate on their streets? The streets belong to real Americans, not those who made their way in. Shout out to that, brother or sister. Shout out to that, brother or sister. But like I said, the reason they do that is because they have a Columbus mindset. It's about hostile taking over stuff. Okay? It's about that at all times. They got to do a hostile takeover, family. They got to always try to erase us as well. See, we present a major problem to the tether class. The tether class, they're so filled with jealousy, envy, and hatred, and we're literally a walking contradiction that you can create something, you can build something in your homeland, like we built over here. We built the United States of America brick by brick. We created this influence. We fought tooth and nail, but we are an example of the walking contradiction they are. In the fact that they fled, so they have to do this whole thing where they kind of take over our spot. They erase us. They act like we don't really exist. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. No, Liberty City. Yeah, I understand Liberty City and Lemon City are two different cities. But they act like we don't even exist. They act like we're immigrants too in our homeland. They do that all the time, family. Yeah, they love home but don't want to go back. That's a fact. That's a fact. And again, you have some cool brothers and sisters. You have some riders who are Caribbean. You have some riders who are African. But a significant amount are tethers. A significant amount are on BS at all times. Yeah, they said they try to take over the home. They do that all the time, family. They do this hostile takeover thing. But it is what it is. Because like I say, we're in a new era. We're in a new day. And this is why delineation continues to grow for the Pan-Africanists who are listening. Okay? For the Democratic Shields, for the people who are anti-FBA. This is why delineation continues to grow. We didn't make him post that. We didn't make Umar say that. We don't make you Tether say you these ridiculous things in the comment section. Y'all go out your way to say it. But we got time now. We responding now. We got our backs against the wall, and anybody who run up is getting that work, whether they're white, Latino, Asian. Look at my page. We broken down all this stuff. Okay? Black immigrants, everybody can get that work. No one's off limits. It's FBA versus everybody, if that's how y'all want to play it. Plain and simple. Yes, indeed. But let me answer some questions because I'm going to get off here in about 15 minutes. Let me answer some questions real quick for the family. And by the way, before y'all put the questions in the comment section, family, if Miss Diamond, are you still in here? If Miss Diamond is still in here, can you put my website in the comment section? Family, y'all got to go get my books, family. Y'all got to go get my books because I be seeing a lot of these tethers out here. I be seeing a lot of TikTok tethers. They be out here spreading so much misinformation. And some of y'all be kind of like, you be lost on how to address it, especially when it comes to these indigenous arguments, because a lot of them have a real bug in their ass about us having indigenous ancestry. You need to go get my whole indigenous series, okay? 19 white men who admitted there were indigenous black people in America, volume 1 and 2, and 13 black scholars, okay, who acknowledged black people in America before Columbus. Y'all need to go get those ASAP. Y'all need to go get those ASAP, family. Shout out to Miss Diamond. Appreciate you, Queen. Y'all need to go to this site right here and go get those ASAP. You dig? And next time I come on here, I'm going to come on Friday. I'm going live Friday again. I'm going to have a special guest for y'all because we got to do another breakdown. I'm going to have a special guest for y'all. And I'm going to be giving away some signed copies. I'm going to be giving away a few signed copies. I'm going to have some signed copies for people who want to buy it as well. I'm going to have some signed copies for people who want to buy the books as well. Yeah, go to that website right there, voiceoftheancestors.net. Okay? voiceoftheancestors.net. A lot of books on there. Even if you're interested in some global Black history, we got global Black history books. All the books were written by me. I have 21 books. I'm working on When Black Americans Stop Singing and Start Swinging, part 2 right now. That's probably going to be out before the end of the year. You dig? Your boy is in the new Hidden Color 6. I think Hidden Color 6 is going to be out before the end of the year. We got a jam-packed end of the year, family. We got a jam-packed end of the year. Hidden Color 6, when that drops, I think our brother Tariq is going to do a theatrical release. I think he's going to do a theatrical release of that. So I got to see where they're having the theatrical release. You dig? But let me answer a few questions. Make sure y'all go get those books, family. Put them on your library. Put them in your library. Put them on the shelves. Make sure the babies read them, and make sure, most importantly, you have receipts, because it's one of my goals, family. I really want y'all to start pushing it into schools because everything is backed by sources. Everything is written from an accurate historical standpoint. I'm not making up anything. These are from first-hand accounts, from journals, from eyewitness accounts. We even have genetic studies in there. So we can get these in the school. This is not trust me, bro, information. Okay, everything is backed by receipts. So yes, indeed. Make sure you go get that. Make sure you go get that. But let me answer some questions. Put your questions in the comment section. Somebody said, I like your work. Let me put this comment because I get this a lot. And I don't know if you're trolling, but you might be, just giving your opinion. Somebody always says this. I like your work, brother, but you're looking and sounding way too much like Tariq. Well, number one, I don't view that as a slight. Shout out to Brother Tariq. Brother Tariq has changed Black history as we know it. We don't give Brother Tariq enough credit. Okay? Brother Tariq came out with that Hidden Color series, and that shook up the globe. I would say that birthed modern day mainstream consciousness. Show me where all these Negroes were conscious prior to 2010. Show me the posts they were making. Show me them talking about the Mali and the Songhai empires. Show me them talking about ancient Kemet in detail. Show me them talking about Black people in America before Columbus, before the Hidden Color series, before 2010. A lot of people can't show you that. That's 16 years ago. A lot of people became conscious, even if it wasn't directly through the Hidden Color series. They became conscious by somebody watching the Hidden Color series and talking to them about it. So I view that as a compliment. Number two, you said, but you're looking and sounding way too much like Tariq. I can't, nigga, my look is my look. My look is my look. I shout out to my mother and father. How I look, I can't do nothing about how I look. I got a temp fade and a little curly fro. That's it. If you walk around Atlanta, I guess it's a lot of brothers that look like Tariq, because it's a lot of temp fades and a lot of curly fros. I don't know what you want me to do about that. And I don't know if you're saying that as a slight, but a lot of people always say that. Oh, you're sounding like Tariq. I'm just speaking truth to power. Okay? I'm just speaking truth to power. The facts are there were Black people in America before Columbus. Whether Tariq said it, Ivan Van Sertima said it, Renoku Rashidi said it, I'm going to repeat that fact because it's a fact. Okay? Because it's a fact. So it is what it is, family. I'm not offended by the comment. I don't know if people try to do that to say, make me stop saying the truth. I don't know the angle of y'all bringing that up, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But let's move on. Let's move on. Shout out to Brother Tariq. We got to give Brother Tariq more credit. And a lot of what's funny is a lot of these Pan-Africanists, not saying this brother who was in the comment section, but a lot of these Pan-Africanists became conscious of Hidden Colors and Brother Tariq. That's the funny thing. Now all of a sudden Tariq is the worst thing. Now he's the worst thing ever. He's grifting. He's a pimp. Okay, yeah, but you came consciousness off Hidden Colors. You weren't talking, niggas didn't even know who Marcus Garvey was before Hidden Colors. Not all, but a lot of people didn't know who Garvey was. A lot of people still don't know who Garvey is, family. By the way, Pan-Africanists try to act like it was such a global influence on Garvey. A lot of people still don't know who Marcus Garvey is. Okay, so you know. Okay. Could you break down Colored and how the title attempted to erase our indigenous heritage? So there has always been, especially among the white supremacists, this battle to try to reclassify how we identify. Okay, always been this battle to try to reclassify how we identify. So starting in the early years, they would use terms like colored. They would use terms like mulatto. Okay, they would even use terms like Negro, very broad and ambiguous terms. Okay, to try to reclassify, especially indigenous people in this land. Okay, especially indigenous people in this land, and throw them in a very broad and ambiguous category that is like a one size fits all. For the longest time, family, for hundreds of years in this country, you were either Black or white. You were either Black or white. All these other, Asian, Latino, and Native American, all that, you were Black or white. So what they did, they said, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. In order to control the identity, the politics, in order to make people fall in line, okay, we're going to have set categories, set racial categories. And if you fall under one racial category, then you're excluded from certain rights. For example, a lot of people don't know certain natives, especially up north, like the Wampanoag people. Okay? The Wampanoag people, they were not allowed to vote because they were considered Native Americans. They were considered indigenous people. If you look at the Wampanoag to this day, they still look Black. Many of them still look Black. They're Black indigenous people. Okay? But what happened is, in order to vote, in order to have any type of rights, okay, in order to have any type of laws, they had to classify under the system. So they would say, okay, well, I want to vote. I'm a person of color. Okay, because they used to then let indigenous tribes and indigenous people vote. So they were like, hey man, I'm a person of color. I'll identify as a person of color. Also, what you had is a lot of indigenous people, and I'm just going from the indigenous aspect, who didn't want to live on reservations. A lot of those reservations back in the day were not kept up to date. A lot of the red-skinned natives were siphoning off the money. They were bullshitting with it. They were scamming with it, X, Y, and Z. And so they said, hey, man, I don't want to live on the reservation no more. I'm going to just live with the greater black society because, shit, I'm already dark as a motherfucker. I'm black just like them. So I'm going to classify myself as black. Okay? So I don't live on the reservation. These are things. So they put these very broad and ambiguous categories out there to put people in classes and to also reclassify indigenous people. Okay, brothers like, not brothers, excuse me. People like Walter Plecker did this all the time. We call it paper genocide. Where in order to get rid of the indigenous people, in order to claim their land, they say, well, you're not indigenous. They used to go on reservations and say, oh, y'all are black. You're Negro. All of you, we're going to classify all of you as Negro. You're not black. Or you're a freedman. That was another term, freedman they will use. You're a freedman because you don't pass the brown paper bag test. You're too dark to be a Native American, so we're going to classify you as freedman and say you're a descendant of African slaves. Okay? So it's always been an identity war. That's how they use colored. That's very broad and ambiguous. Anybody can kind of fit under that colored category. You dig? Let's answer some more questions. And I hope I answered the question good enough, for you right now without going too deep. So I don't want to go too deep. I get to talking and it'd be crazy. Yes, indeed. Let's go down. I'm way behind in the comment section. Nothing wrong with being proud of Black American heritage. Nothing wrong at all. Nothing wrong with being proud of your foundational Black American heritage. Yeah, Destruction of Black Civilizations by Chancellor Williams. That's an excellent book. And I read, like I said, I read global Black books. Let me give y'all a book list. People be asking me that all the time too. Let's put my books to the side. Forget my books. What's some good books for the family to read? You need to read Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. Great book. Great book to read. You need to read a Black History Reader by Dr. Claude Anderson. You need to read Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay? You need to read 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. You need to read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is going to show you how to move, how to operate, how to deal with power, because we're in a power game. We're in a power game. That's what we're after. We're trying to get power. Real power. We have power now as foundational Black Americans, but we want real power as well. We want more power, I should say. Okay? What's some more good books to read? You need to read The ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Okay? Read The ISIS Papers. You need to read The Iceman Inheritance, okay, by Michael Bradley and Dr. John Henry Clark. Okay, that teaches you the nature in which the white man came from. Understanding the concept between the ice people and the sun people, you can understand at that point how these folks move and how they behave. When you understand that, the Iceman Inheritance, understand why they do what they do. Why is it that they can have control over 99.9% of the resources, but still fight you for that 0.1%? Because they come out the ice. They come from a land of a lack of resources. Everything is scarce. So they carry that mentality on. They've always carried that mentality on. They need to have 100% of everything. And even when they get 100% of everything, they turn the guns on each other and start fighting each other. Okay? And understand our mindset and why it's so hard for some of us to understand how these folks move and operate. It's so hard for some of us to see white supremacy as an enemy because we are the sun people. We come from an abundance mindset. We come from a sharing and caring mindset because that's what we were. We were living in the sun, whether in the Americas or in Africa. We grew up in a land where you didn't have to go out here and steal because you had all the fruits and meats and vegetables and resources that you needed underneath your feet or running around you. There's no need to have doors and go steal something out of somebody else's house because you had everything you needed already. Okay, they grew up in an environment where sometimes they didn't have enough food. They had to start eating each other, literally. That's what they talk about in the Iceman Inheritance. So you need to read that. That's a deep book. That's a deep book, family. Yeah, you got to read that. You got to read, somebody said read Black Power by Stokely Carmichael. Okay, I don't think I've read that. I don't know. I have to look. Or are you talking about the Blueprint for Black Power? Okay. The Blueprint for Black Power, that's another great book to read. Who read? It's been so long since I read it. It's a huge ass book too. Who wrote the Blueprint for Black Power? I can see his face now. Family, help me out in the comment section. Who wrote the Blueprint for Black Power? Oh man, he passed away. The good brother passed away years ago. Who wrote the Blueprint for Black Power in the comment section? Damn, I can't think of brother's name. I cannot think of the brother's name. The Blueprint for Black Power. Amos Wilson. That's who it is. Amos Wilson. I believe that's his name. Yeah, Dr. Amos. Yeah, Dr. Amos Wilson. You need to read that. Read The First Americans Were African. Don't get caught up always in the names, family, by Dr. David Imhotep. That's going to give you a lot of foundations of the indigenous history of Black people over here in the Americas. Okay, the first Americans is called The First Americans Were Africans, and he's saying these, Black people. Okay, that's gonna help you get some of that indigenous roots and information, knowledge, wisdom, information that you need to know. That's written by Dr. David Imhotep. Written by Dr. David Imhotep. Read that book. Okay, my finance books, because we talk a lot about knowledge of self. Finance book. Read Multiple Streams of Income by Robert G. Allen. Okay. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay. Read that. What's another good financial book to read? Read Can Slim Investments. Okay, excuse me. How to Make Money in Stocks, the Can Slim Investment Strategy. Read that. I forgot who wrote that book. Who wrote that book? How to Make Money in Stocks, Can Slim Investments. William O'Neill. That's written by William O'Neill. Read that. Okay, this is good knowledge, wisdom, and information. We kicking knowledge. Y'all put some books in the comment section. Okay? You got to feed your mind, family. Reading is very important. And the reason I say read, family, your mind is an organ. Some people even say your mind is a muscle. Just like you have to physically lift weights, you physically have to go walking, you physically have to go running in order to stay in shape, you physically have to feed your mind. You have to work out your mind, and you work out your mind by reading and comprehending and gaining knowledge. Okay? That's exercise for your mind, so your mind can stay sharp and witty. Okay? So when you're faced with certain situations, you don't panic, you don't go into depression, because that's all depression is about. Depression is about you've run across an obstacle that you mentally can't overcome. And a lot of us mentally can't overcome things because we're not mentally in shape. You're asking your mind to run a 10-mile race and you ain't ran a mile yet. You ain't worked out mentally in a while. You haven't done any critical thinking. So when you're faced with an obstacle that's going to require you to critically think and your livelihood depends on it, your mind panics and you go into a depression. You see what I'm saying? So you got to stay mentally sharp. You constantly got to be feeding your brain information. So when you run across these obstacles in life, you know how to pivot. You know how to go real quick. Just like that Ryan Clark situation. You dig, nigga? I'm not going to be out here crying. I'm going to pivot real quick. You dig? Yeah, we already said The Art of War. Yeah. We already said The Art of War, Sun Tzu. Great book. 33 Strategies of War, Robert Greene. That's another great book. Yeah, read Before the Mayflower, LaRon Bennett. That's another terrific book. Before the Mayflower by LaRon Bennett. Classic. Okay? Yes, indeed, family. But listen, it's your brother Chase. I'm about to get off of here. Go to my website. Get my books as well. Get my books as well, family. Get the 19 white men who admitted they were indigenous black people in America. That's going to give you that indigenous history. Okay? From first-hand accounts. That's not, I think, I know. That's an account where you can give that to people. We have 19 White Men, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So in that book, we give you 38 receipts, 38 explorers, scholars, all the way from Harvard professors to Harvard geneticists, okay, to first-hand explorers like Giovanni Barricino, who came over here and seen these black people for himself back in 1524. He's seen these tribes of black people. He watched them save one of his crew members. You see what I'm saying? He watched him save one of these crew members. These are the accounts you need. These are the accounts you have to present to other brothers and sisters so they don't think you're lying about black people being in the Americas before slavery. Okay? Go get the 500 Amazing Facts About the Negro, particularly Volume 1 and 2, which deal with foundational black Americans. Go get When Black Americans Stop Singing and Start Swinging so you can understand our culture of resistance in this country. Understand from the time our ethnogenesis started in 1526 when you had that amalgamation of black indigenous people, okay, and the 4% that actually came from the continent of Africa. They came together, rose up together, and fought and defeated the white supremacists like Lucas Vasquez, who was trying to set up one of the early colonies on the border of Georgia and South Carolina. Understand all the ass your ancestors whipped. Be rooted in that. Understand we would not be sitting here to this day if it wasn't for our ancestors putting belt to ass. Not just marching. Shout out to the ancestors who marched. Shout out to the ancestors who did things through politics in the voting booth. But shout out to the brothers and sisters who put belt to ass, who sacrificed their lives so we could be here to this day. You need to be rooted in that culture because it's by any means necessary, family. So you got to go get When Black Americans Stop Singing and Start Swinging, Volume 1. Volume 2 will be out later on this year. Yeah, the Yamasee Wars. We talk about the Yamasee Wars in there. You've been reading the book. We get heavy. There's never been a breakdown of our cultural resistance like in When Black Americans Stop Singing and Start Swinging. We're taking indigenous history, black indigenous history. We're taking history from the plantation. We ain't just talking about Nat Turner in there. Oh, yeah, we talking about Stono. We talking about Cato's Rebellion. Stono, shout out to y'all. Y'all rooted in the culture of resistance. We going in that book. That is the most comprehensive book on foundational black American resistance from 1526 to 1865. This next one is from 1865 to 1969. And then we're going to do Volume 3, which is going to take it up to present day. So make sure you go get that right now. Make sure you go get that off the website, or you can get it off Amazon if you want to, if you want it faster, because the website takes a little bit longer. Okay. But until next time, family, y'all know what it is. It's your brother Chase. Man, I appreciate the love and support. Peace and black power. Foundational black Americans. Despite what any of these folks say, if you don't remember nothing else I say today, remember you are a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal people. And don't ever forget that. See y'all Friday. I'm out.